So, the Soldier Boy that we got to see in the boys' show is much more different than his comic book variant. A big difference between the comics and the show is that, in the comics, Soldier Boy is not the father of Homelander, and he is nowhere near to the Soldier Boy that we got in the show. In the comics, Soldier Boy was not just a single person. It was actually a legacy title that was passed down from person to person. Originally, Soldier Boy was the leader of a superhero group called the Avenging Squad. He was sent along with the Avenging Squad to scout for Germans, but they didn't have any authorization or awareness of military tactics. Soon, they caused a massacre of both the Avenging Squad and the American soldiers who they were supposed to assist. Soldier Boy survived the massacre, but he was mortally wounded by the attack. When Mallory saw him, he shot him instead of saving his life. Because Mallory knew that the Supes didn't know anything about war, and they are the cause of many innocent deaths. So, after his death, another soldier was to take his place, but this one was actually different from all other superheroes, as he was genuinely trying to be a great hero. Like many other Supes, this Soldier Boy had no worries about hurting others or abusing his powers. But unlike most other Supes, his patriotism and dedication to his job wasn't just an act. He maintained a very innocent approach to his role, and he didn't realize the depravity around him. He never even used foul language or participated in the hero-gasm orgies. However, he was very cowardly, and he always tried to flee when he realized that he might lose the fight. He desperately wanted to join the Seven, and because of it, Homelander takes advantage of him and convinces him to have gay sex with him as a test for him to join the Seven. However, he is later captured alive, then badly beaten and tortured by Billy Butcher for information. Then later, he is also killed by the hands of Billy Butcher. So basically, the various Soldier Boys from the comic books are just like any other superheroes in that universe, but the Soldier Boy that we got to see in the show is a 100% upgrade from the comics. In the show, Soldier Boy was born in Pennsylvania in 1919 under the name Benjamin, or Ben as a nickname. The official backstory of Soldier Boy, released by Vought, was that he was born poor and learned the values of hard work, tenacity, and bravery while growing up on the streets. But in reality, he was born into a wealthy family and was raised by a strict and emotionally abusive father who owned half the steel mills in the state. When he was just a boy, his father sent him to boarding school so that he could be properly educated. Unfortunately, he did poorly in boarding school and ultimately flunked out, leading his father to call him a disappointment and tell him he was unworthy to carry on his name. In 1944, Benjamin enlisted in the army and was able to get himself dosed with Frederick Vaught's field-tested version of Compound V by exploiting his father's connections in the military. After doing so, he became Soldier Boy, who was America's first superhero and the strongest man alive. However, due to how much he was worth to the company, Vought American used Soldier Boy mostly for war propaganda instead of actually letting him fight the Nazis. When the war finally concluded, Ben returned home to a hero's welcome, and parades were held across the nation in his honor. Despite this, his father was not impressed and disdainfully told Soldier Boy that he had taken a shortcut, claiming that a real man wouldn't have cheated the way he had by using Compound V. Later, following the end of World War II, Soldier Boy remained a major superhero with Vought for decades. Then, in 1945, an executive order was drafted to establish the date of April 28th as Soldier Boy Day as a way of honoring his heroic efforts during the war. However, he intervened and had the day be known as National Superhero Day as a way of honoring all superheroes instead. At some point, he met Stormfront during her time as Liberty, and the two of them founded Herogasm together in 1952. Later, Soldier Boy became the leader of the superhero team Payback, where he was supposedly fighting crime alongside Crimson Countess, Gunpowder, Swatto, Mindstorm, Black Noir, and the TNT Twins. In the fall of 1980, Jonah Vogelbaum called Benjamin to his lab and asked him to ejaculate his sperm into a cup so that they could study his genetics. Unbeknownst to Soulja Boy, Vogelbaum would use his sperm to create a baby who would eventually grow up to be Homelander. Unlike his comic book versions, Soulja Boy developed a very unique and very strong ability after he was captured and was experimented on. After being exposed to high levels of radiation while being experimented on by the Russians, Soulja Boy's body appears to have started producing radiation on its own, and that ended up effectively turning him into a walking nuclear reactor. After gaining power of a nuclear reactor, Soulja Boy now possesses the ability to fire tremendously powerful blasts of radiation-infused energy from his upper torso. It appears that Soulja Boy's ability to produce radioactive beams of energy is powerful enough to burn the entirety of Compound V from the bloodstream of a soup, effectively killing them or turning them back into normal human beings. Along with his other insane abilities, his power to convert soups into normal humans makes him extremely dangerous for any superhero, including Homelander. So overall, I personally like the Soulja Boy from the show, and the comic counterparts doesn't come anywhere close to him. And yeah, that's all for this video, and if you guys enjoyed it, then make sure to subscribe.